This is Top Story on AM 600 KOGO, San Diego's news and talk station. I'm Chris Reid of the Union Tribune editorial page. We're talking with Republican Senate candidate Carly Fiorina. Now, one of the things that I don't think people appreciate enough as being so crucial to an election is voter intensity. It's why a 50-50 nation voted for Obama 53-46 a couple of years ago, and it's why I think you've got an awfully good chance this fall. But one thing that struck me, and I just found deeply hilarious, was the utter lack of enthusiasm among the liberal establishment in California, even for Boxer. The LA Times was asked to choose among who to recommend, to endorse in the Democratic primary between Mickey Kaus, a kind of iconoclastic and funny blogger, and Barbara Boxer, the three-term incumbent. And now, even though Mickey Kaus has been the most ferocious critic of the Los Angeles Times and the American media for years, he calls it a rudderless and dumbly run paper, the LA Times still did not endorse Boxer over Mickey Kaus, and they took potshots at her leadership and her record in the 18 years in the Senate. So it seems to me that you've got a big advantage on your side in that it's tough for the establishment to pretend Boxer's been a good senator.
Well, I agree with you, and I think this election is about three things, beyond jobs and out-of-control spending and borrowing that we've been talking about. This election really is about the past versus the future. When Barbara Boxer became a politician, The Way We Were by Barbra Streisand was the number one song, and Microsoft had not yet been formed. We need to focus on our future, and we're living our future in the 21st century where we have to understand how the real world works in the 21st century. And in the 21st century, any job can go anywhere. That's why we have to fight for our jobs and put someone in Washington who understands how they're created. Barbara Boxer is all about rhetoric. I'm all about results. Barbara Boxer hasn't accomplished anything for the people of California, not in her 28 years representing them. And people want results. People want practical problem solving. People actually want the situation to get better. And I also think, Chris, if I may, that this election is about what kind of country are we? I think most Californians believe, that the American dream belongs to everyone. But to achieve the American dream, each individual, and every individual has potential, but they must have opportunity to fulfill that potential, and they have to have the freedom to find their own way and make their own choices. Barbara Boxer has a very different vision for America. Big government, big taxing, big spending, big borrowing, lots of regulation. That is not the America that I want my grandchildren growing up in.
We're talking with Republican Senate candidate Carly Fiorina. Now, I admit to being a little bit nervous about Meg Whitman debating Jerry Brown because she's been cocooned. But I have to say that you've gotten so much better at the retail level of politics, it seems to be, in the past year that I think you just destroy Boxer. Are you seeking out chances for debates with her, or what are you hearing on that front?
I have said publicly I will debate her anytime, anywhere. And so if you'd like to invite Barbara and I to debate on your show, I would be delighted. She probably wants to have one debate in July, so we'll, these things are negotiated between campaigns, but I will debate her anytime, anywhere, and I think the people of California deserve a rigorous and robust debate about the future of our state, about how we're going to create jobs, about how we're going to hold government accountable and actually cut government spending, and how we're going to turn this around so that instead of destroying private sector jobs and growing federal jobs, federal government jobs, which is what we're doing today, while we live with 12.5% unemployment here, federal government employees are growing at 14.5% this year.
Amazing.
How are we going to turn that around? Let's debate that.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, great to be with you, Chris. Thanks so much.
That was Republican Senate candidate Carly Fiorina. Now, I really have to say that, there's a tendency in the media to lump Carly Fiorina and Meg Whitman together as rich ex-executives seeking office. But, boy, the more I see them in action and the more I talk to them, they really seem to be cut from different cloths. Carly Fiorina, if you read the profiles of her, she's a ferocious competitor. She really wants this kind of badly, and she really, I think, is eager to take it to Barbara Boxer directly. Whitman almost seems to have decided she wants to become governor, just as it's like she woke up one day and decided that was something she wants to do. I don't know if she has a competitive streak as obvious and as plain and evident and as aggressive as Fiorina. And so I'd be very worried if I was Barbara Boxer. Fiorina could tear her apart. I would not be surprised if Fiorina won by 7 or 8 points in a state that's strongly Democratic, and California would be way better off if that happened. I'm Chris Reid. This is Top Story on AM 600 KOGO, San Diego's news and talk station.